I'm Melissa Chartrand. I'm joined in studio today with Diana Gioia. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
And among many things that you do, your day job, acupuncturist, but you're also a singer-songwriter.
I am.
And that's why we have you here today.
Which is exciting.
It's very exciting. We were talking, though, off camera, your background. Means one of my first questions is really, how did you begin in this singer-songwriting?
In music, well, I always loved music. I mean, from the time I was 10 or 11 years old, I was just obsessed with rock and roll and radio, and anything that was really well written was very, very compelling to me. And then I went on to college at Emerson College in the Boston area, and I actually studied radio at the time, and I think it was a misguided effort to get more music in my life because I wasn't playing or writing at that time, but I was heavily invested in other people's music. And working on the college radio station, I learned about folk music and reggae and all these genres I hadn't been all that familiar with. So when I did start writing in my 20s, I tended to start out by writing in a folk vein, but now a lot of what I write is more bluesy or more acoustic rock influenced or kind of all over the place.
And I'm sure during that time and continually, what influences you and who inspires you?
Oh, that is hard. You know, there are a few women songwriters from the 80s and early 90s who I just adored. And those would be Nancy Griffith, Shawn Colvin, and Michelle Schacht. And when I was in my 20s, those three women, everything they wrote, I went out and bought it. Everything they sang, I wanted to hear it and sing along. And those were a big inspiration. Lately, I'm listening to people like Ela Jewell, who has come to the Cape a couple of times thanks to the Payamet Arts series on the Outer Cape, who is an amazing singer-songwriter. I'm listening to things like Shovels and Rope, which is very kind of edgy Americana with some twangy country, but also kind of a punk rock feeling. And I'm listening to a band called Honey Honey, which I don't really know how to describe except good songwriting, and really they sound great.
So quite a variety, from folk to punk, all mixed into one. And you take those influences, and then what are you thinking as you're writing? Because if they're intriguing you, inspiring you, then when you're writing, what are you thinking and feeling?
Well, when I'm writing, a lot of it is about lyrics. I'm really kind of a word nerd. So I'm looking for things with good rhyme, with good rhythm, with play on words, or things that allude to various things that people will be familiar with. I love that sort of writing. And so for me, a lot of times I sit down to write and I don't really know where the song is going, and I'm just kind of waiting. And if I get a line, if one line shows up and I write it down in my little notebook, then I'm kind of waiting to see where that takes me. And it's almost like a process of reeling it in. I don't really know the direction until it starts to kind of reveal itself. It's like a photo in a developer where you can just see the outline, and then all of a sudden you can see where it's going.
And then you, with that same vein, you know when it's done.
Usually I know when it's done. I've written a couple of songs where I felt like, oh, maybe that should have been longer, or is that a little too long? But usually I do. Usually I know when it's done.
And so that's a little bit on the creative process. Let's go back a minute. Did you grow up in a musical family?
I didn't. My father used to teach languages at the college level, and then when I was in second grade, he went back to graduate school to study documentary film, and that became his career, and he spent many years in that field, both as a professional and also as a professor. So I did grow up with the idea of find out what you really love and do it, even if it seems like it's too hard.
And is there a time you find you can't be creative?
Well, there are always, I guess the busier you are, the harder it is. If you have no space in your life, if you're just go, 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 go from one to-do list to the next, then it's hard. It's hard to write.
And so that's where I think it comes in to do what you love and make the time for that. We get so caught up in day-to-day and don't have time and can't do it and put it off till later. And just where you said you switched careers, it's never too late and it's so important to do.
Yeah, no, I did. I switched careers in the early 90s. I left radio behind and I went to acupuncture school up in the Boston area. And I've been an acupuncturist on the Cape for 20 years now. my place is in Dennis. I hope
Sure.
I could say that.
Of course you can. Of course you can. And let's talk a little bit just about that work. And does that influence your your songwriting?
Well, I did write a song that was totally inspired by my work as an acupuncturist, because for 10 years I was what's called a private room acupuncturist. I would see people in a little private room and I would charge them $70 or $80 a visit. But 10 years ago, a little more than 10 years ago, I was exposed to the idea of community acupuncture, which is about making it much more accessible by bringing the fee way down. And you treat people in a big open group setting, and you charge them $20 or $30 or $40. They pay whatever they can in that range. So I did write a song. It's called Free to Make It Better. And it was about feeling so empowered that something that I did was going to make such a positive difference in the community. So it's 10 years ago, this January, that I started doing community acupuncture in Dennis, and I just love it.
Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Let's talk a little bit about a song. We're going to have you perform a song for us. I'm so excited for that. And tell me about the song.
Okay, well, this is a pretty new song. I wrote it just a couple of weeks ago. Now, for a long time I was writing songs and I wasn't very aware of that there are things that can make it easier, like a rhyme dictionary. And so I would just free brain it all. I would just try to come up with everything in my own head. But the past couple of years, I have been using a rhyming dictionary, which if you're a writer or you think you want to be a writer, is hugely helpful. And they're available online. So if you have a smartphone, your phone is with you, your rhyming dictionary is with you, which is really a lovely thing. So this particular song, I got the first line, kind of came to me, and I didn't really know where it was going. And so I'm continuing to get ideas and write down this first verse of the song. And then I'm looking for a rhyme, and I pulled out the dictionary, and I'm looking for a particular rhyme, and I saw this particular word, which is the name of the song. And as soon as I saw that, the whole story and the rest of the song just fell into place. And I was like, I know where it's going.
Excellent. Excellent. And so tell us the name of the song.
Oh, no.
It's a surprise.
It's a
All
surprise.
Right. Well, before we leave then, let's let our viewers know where they can find out more about you, your information, whether they want a community acupuncture or they want to find out more about your music.
Okay, great. My music is online on Facebook under my band name, Out Late. I also have a page on Reverb Nation, which is Out Late with Diana Gioia. And on either of those pages, you can listen to some of my tracks. The Reverb Nation page also has Cape Cod Times Online review of my second CD, which they liked, and photos and gigs and all of that sort of thing listed on there. My clinic is called Community Acupuncture on Cape Cod and is in South Dennis on Route 134. So people can find that online at acuforall.com.
Excellent. And as you say, I know that you have, it's wonderful. There's nothing like going out to hear live music, and I know you play for everything from farmers markets to evening performances.
Yeah.
So it's nice. There's a wide variety of places and times that people can hear you live.
It's true, and we hope to get most of them up on the website so people can find them there.
Sure.
But if they want to email us and be on a mailing list, we can let them know as well.
Great. Well, Diana, thank you so much for your time today. We'll look forward to hearing the song next. For Diana Gioia, I'm Melissa Chartrand, wishing you an artful day.
She took my boots, she took my leather vest. I had nothing left to wear that would impress. She took the sparkle from my eye and the swing out of my step, and with them went the pleasure of what hasn't happened yet. She wore away my groove with a pack of groovy lies, like you will always be my baby. And so I could not recognize that the gig was up. She didn't want me anymore. Now love has burned me for the last time. Nevermore, nevermore. That blackbird had it right. You won't see me, you know, they're growling, crying in a beer on a Saturday night. Nevermore. I've done my time with lonely hearts and Patsy Cline. I'm tired of being your tear-stained troubadour. Now it's just me and the raven evermore. We used to play like puppies on the rug. She'd tug my tail, I'd sniff her like a drug. There was no place I wouldn't follow. I was proud to wear her collar, beguiled by a smile or a hug. But heavy lies the head that wears the crown. She was my queen, but I was just her clown. And when the fog had cleared away, my goddess stood with feet of clay. But now those feet were walking out the door, when from the window came a rapping, nevermore, nevermore. That blackbird had it right. You won't see me in old there growling, crying in our beer on a Saturday night. Nevermore. I've done my time with lonely hearts and Patsy Cline. I'm tired of being your tear-stained troubadour. Now it's just me and the raven evermore. Like Edgar when he lost his sweet Lenore. When my lover left, it cut me to the core. I tore my hair and cursed the gods about what had occurred, until that cold black wraith swooped in with a solitary word. And rat-tat-tat, just like that, my weeping days were through. I'd had enough of love and what it could and couldn't do, with his cryptic gaze like an ancient dinosaur. I'll take advice from just the raven evermore. Nevermore. That blackbird had it right. You won't see me in old Edgar Allan, crying in a beer on a Saturday night. Nevermore. I've done my time with lonely hearts and Patsy Cline. I'm tired of being your tear-stained troubadour. Now it's just me and the raven evermore. Now it's just me and the raven. Just me and the raven. Just me and the raven evermore.